revisit MH370 case. Malaysia and Australia to explore further cooperation in key potential areas. Good evening and Salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching Malaysia Tonight. I'm Mohana Priya. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said Malaysia is willing to reopen the investigation into the missing Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 should fresh and compelling evidence emerge. Malaysia, along with Australia and China, ended in January 2017 a fruitless 2-year, $130 million underwater hunt for the Boeing 777 that vanished with 239 aboard en route to Beijing from Kuala Lumpur on the 8th of March 2014.
Be happy to reopen because I don't think it's an issue of a tactical or technical issue. It is an issue of affecting lives of people, and whatever need to be done must be done.
Datuk Seri Anwar said this during a joint press conference with Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese in Melbourne on Monday, in conjunction with his official visit to Australia. The press conference preceded the second Malaysia-Australia Annual Leaders Meeting, ALM, the first face-to-face meeting between Malaysian and Australian leaders and top government officials since its inception in 2021. The Ministry of Education, MOE, has set up 6 task forces to empower national education direction in several key areas this year. Education Director General Azman Adnan said these special task forces include preschool, curriculum intervention, and science, technology, engineering, and mathematics (STEM). Azman added that the others are digital education, technical and vocational education and training or TVET, and upholding the Malay language and strengthening command of English, MBM, MBI.
Kita menegaskan banyak perkara yang berkaitan dengan apa yang akan kita laksanakan pada tahun 2024, yang mana apa yang perlu kita perkukuhkan pendidikan kita bagi memastikan kualiti pendidikan kita akan berada pada tahap yang terbaik. Dan KPM memberikan komitmen yang tinggi untuk memastikan bahawa tidak ada seorang pun anak warga negara Malaysia yang tercecer daripada arus pendidikan. Banyak program dan intervensi yang akan kita laksanakan untuk tahun 2024, termasuklah juga 6 task force yang saya umumkan tadi berkaitan dengan penekanan dan juga fokus untuk tahun 2024 yang melibatkan prasekolah, TVET, digital, STEM dan juga MBM, MBI.
Azman also assured that the MOE will strive to enhance teachers' digital competencies to facilitate effective information dissemination to students. The Ministry of Home Affairs is open to proposals to streamline police procedures in handling applications for assembly permits under the Peaceful Assembly Act 2012. Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution said the police are also responsible for ensuring that gatherings held do not cause congestion, disrupt premises, places of worship and strategic locations, besides addressing safety aspects outlined in the relevant Act.
Jadi saya tidak ada sebarang masalah. Saya percaya pasukan polis akan mendengar, meneliti. Kalau ada keperluan menambah baik, mereka akan melaksanakan perkara itu. Dan saya tidak ada sebarang halangan untuk interact.
Datuk Seri Saifuddin stated this during a press conference after the Menyemai Kasih Rakyat Bersama Menyantuni Penghuni Rumah Sri Kenangan program in Ulu Kinta, Perak today. On another matter, Datuk Seri Saifuddin said interviews with citizenship applications will be conducted in a relaxed manner. The Home Minister said it was part of the ministry's aim to improve and ease citizenship applications.
Banyak ruang kita boleh tambah baik tanpa kompromis keperluan comply dengan peruntukan undang-undang, sebab ini ternyata dalam perlembagaan dan kita nak buat keputusan tentang perkara besar warga negara. Tapi kita yakin kita boleh laksanakan ini dalam tempoh yang tidak terlalu panjang.
The minister also said that there are about 12,000 applications for citizenship through Article 19 of the Constitution that are still being processed. Still ahead in our business segment, government to prioritise improving current tax system. Malaysia and Australia are exploring cooperation opportunities in emerging sectors as both nations enter a new progressive era with three main areas identified, namely economic prosperity, community and technology, as well as defence and security. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said renewable energy, green technology, digital and food security are also key potential areas for both countries to explore further cooperation, as Malaysia can substantially benefit from Australia's advancements.
This is something of dire need in many countries, including Malaysia. And of course, education remains a priority. Opportunities for students to come here, to continue here, which I have said that we have benefited immensely from that exercise. Many Australian institutions and universities set up campuses in Malaysia, which we will strongly encourage. And these are avenues that we can further explore, and it is our duty and commitment to facilitate, in fact, accelerate the process.
The Prime Minister said both countries also remain committed to facilitating and accelerating the process of cooperation in those sectors. As Malaysia and Australia have entered a new phase of the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Framework, Datuk Seri Anwar said both nations agreed to the efforts of their respective government officials and ministries on the issues of trade and investment, education, sport, digital economy and cybersecurity. He said Malaysia and Australia reaffirmed the commitment to intensifying existing cooperation, including in some very specific areas like the vaccine ecosystem and clean energy transition. Adding to that, Malaysia and Australia also formalised 4 Memoranda of Understanding of MOUs in Melbourne in the course of Datuk Seri Anwar's official visit to Australia. 2 of the MOUs are new, namely practical arrangements between the Government of Malaysia and the Government of Australia on cooperation in the areas of science and technology, and the applications for the implementation of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty (CTBT) and cybersecurity and critical technology. 2 others are renewable MOUs, namely cooperation in the field of sports and cooperation in the field of higher education. Malaysia and Australia's respective foreign ministers, Datuk Seri Mohamed Hassan and Penny Wong, exchanged the documents after the conclusion of the Malaysia-Australia Annual Leaders Meeting at Government House, Victoria, which was witnessed by the respective Prime Ministers, Datuk Seri Anwar and Anthony Albanese. In a joint press conference with Albanese, Datuk Seri Anwar said the 4 MOUs are a remarkable milestone in charting a more progressive future for both countries as they underscore the substantive success and outcome of their meetings. The government has allocated 5 billion ringgit of the total 20 billion ringgit financing to be guaranteed by Syarikat Jaminan Pembiayaan Perniagaan Berhad for 2024, specifically for bumiputra companies. Finance Minister too, Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah Azizan said the guarantee allocation will prioritise the new growth sectors under the Madani economy. He said in addition, focus will be given on digitalisation efforts by micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs. Through his approach, bumiputra companies at various stages of growth will be assured of getting access to financing.
Jaminan SJPP untuk syarikat kecil dan sederhana bumiputra akan membantu melengkapkan pembiayaan yang diumumkan semasa Kongres Ekonomi Bumiputra bagi usahawan mikro melalui pembiayaan mikro sebanyak RM1 bilion ringgit, serta untuk syarikat pemula dan pertumbuhan tinggi melalui dana Ikuti sebanyak RM1 bilion di bawah syarikat berkaitan kerajaan ataupun GRIC.
To date, SJPP has provided guarantees to more than 100,000 MSMEs with total approved sum of 75 billion ringgit. Last year alone, SJPP has helped more than 19,000 MSMEs with financing value totaling 18.5 billion ringgit. On another note, the minister said that since the government established Syarikat Jaminan Kredit Perumahan Berhad, or SJKP, in 2008, the company has disbursed housing loan guarantees to more than 43,000 recipients, with total financing exceeding 8.8 billion ringgit. For 2023, SJKP has benefited more than 23,000 borrowers with guarantees worth 6 billion ringgit. Speaking on tax, Datuk Sri Amir Hamzah said the government will prioritise improving the current tax system before assessing the need to reintroduce new tax, such as the Goods and Services Tax (GST). On the increase of the service tax rate and the implementation of the high-value goods tax, Amir Hamzah said the government would improve its communication with stakeholders before introducing new tax measures to avoid recurring confusion.
Well, when you look at it, right, the service tax increase from 6% to 8% was introduced and announced dalam budget 2024. Yeah, and actually there was a lot of consultation done with various groups to ensure that we figured out what are the key things.
He said the revision of the service tax rate is good for increasing government revenue and redistributing the proceeds raised to help society. Datuk Sri Amir Hamzah also agreed with the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living to step up its enforcement to curb unaffected businesses from exploiting the higher tax rate by raising prices. He also believes many Malaysians can also play their part to highlight where they feel that prices have been raised, but not consistent with the increase in the service tax. As announced by Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim during the Budget 2024 presentation in October last year, the service tax rate will be increased to 8% from 6% in March 2024, while the high-value goods tax rate will be imposed between 5% and 10% starting May. Now, the 2023 Employees Provident Fund or EPF dividend that remains strong gives confidence to employees about the performance of their investment in their retirement savings, as well as indicates stable and improving economic growth. Malaysian Trade Union Congress or MTUC's President Muhammad Effendi Abdul Ghani, who welcomed the announcement, said the increase in the Sharia savings dividend to 5.4% compared to only 4.75% in 2022 could also attract more contributors to choose Sharia savings in the future. Yesterday, the EPF announced a dividend rate of 5.5% for conventional savings, with a total distribution of 50.33 billion ringgit and 5.4% for Sharia savings, with a total distribution of 7.48 billion ringgit. This includes the total amount of income distribution for 2023, which is as much as 57.81 billion ringgit. Muhammad Effendi said EPF's commitment to maintain a strong dividend gives certainty to employees regarding the growth of employee savings in the long term, especially retirement savings. He said this is to ensure that each contributor has a total savings amount of at least around 240,000 ringgit when they retire. The MTUC president added that contributor awareness is also necessary to maintain additional years in savings accumulation, and productive employment will increase savings to enable a higher savings amount during retirement later. China-based information technology company GDS Holdings Limited, meanwhile, is set to expand its business at Johor. Johor Menteri Besar Dato' On Hafiz Ghazi said GDS Holdings, which is a leading data center operator, has invested 14.33 billion ringgit in Johor with the opening of 2 data centers in Nusa Jaya Tech Park and Kempas Tech Park. The Menteri Besar, through a post on Facebook, said that he was happy when GDS Holdings stated its readiness to expand its business in Johor and is confident Johor is capable of becoming a competitive artificial intelligence or AI hub. Dr. On Hafiz, who is currently on a working visit to the Shenzhen Special Economic Zone in China from the 2nd to the 7th March, said the Johor State Government's delegation held a meeting with GDS Holdings and has gained valuable insights about the company's business framework. He also expressed amazement to learn about their vision and business model in developing data centers, which has successfully contributed to making China a smart nation and digital economy powerhouse. He added that as a global giant company, GDS Holdings now has more than 100 data center projects across Asia and is ranked 9th out of the top 250 data center companies in the world in 2024. The Menteri Besar noted that with the establishment of the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, Johor can attract more investors to the state and create high-impact investment packages, besides emulating Shenzhen as a leading global investment hub. The government has been urged to develop Sabah and Sarawak as the country's new trade growth centres. Datuk Mat Bali Musa of Gabungan Rakyat Sabah, or GRS, said the development of Indonesia's new capital city, Nusantara, in East Kalimantan, makes both states potential beneficiaries of the progress on Borneo Island. Elaborating further on the matter, Datuk Mat Bali said the potential of Sabah and Sarawak's position is very significant and is now even stronger following Indonesia's relocation of its capital to East Kalimantan, Borneo, where Malaysia shares a large portion of the island. He said if a big country, Indonesia, has already moved its administrative centre and economic development away from Java Island, then it is significant and consistent for Malaysia to also shift trade to the Borneo Island, making Sabah and Sarawak new growth centres. Hence, Dato' Mat Bali is confident that the government is committed to achieving the aspiration to reduce the economic gap between states for shared prosperity. Moving on, the participation of government-linked companies, GLCs, government-linked investment companies, GLICs, and private sector enterprises in technical and vocational education and training, or TVET, has the potential to enrich TVET learning by fostering the exchange of expertise. Department of Polytechnic Education and Community Colleges Director General Dr. Mohammad Zahari Ismail highlighted that the partnership between the department and various GLCs, GLICs and private companies has demonstrably played a crucial role in advancing TVET across multiple aspects. This encompasses the enhancement and refinement of curricula and programs, financial support or funding, the transfer of knowledge and technology, the provision of industrial training opportunities for both students and lecturers, as well as the provision of employment opportunities with substantial salaries. Furthermore, he noted that 81 polytechnic students had the opportunity to engage in international industrial training in countries such as Hungary, Qatar, Singapore, Thailand, and the United Kingdom, thanks to collaborations with various GLIC companies. National TVET Development Association Chairman Muhammad Yaakob, meanwhile, stated that the GLCs, GLICs and private companies can be involved in designing TVET learning modules by incorporating cutting-edge technologies such as artificial intelligence, AI, the Internet of Things, IoT, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, IR 4.0, and electric vehicles. On another note, MIDF research is optimistic that Malaysia's external trade will recover steadily in 2024, with exports increasing 5.2% year-on-year, underpinned by growing global demand and stable commodity prices. The research house, in a note today, said the expected turnaround of Malaysia's exports is one of the factors to support the appreciation of the ringgit in 2024, averaging at 4 ringgit 38 cent per $1. MIDF Research, the research unit of MIDF Amanah Investment Bank Berhad, said this after Malaysia registered a higher S&P Global Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, of 49.5 in February 2024, which was the highest reading since September 2022. It noted that the improvement in Malaysia's manufacturing PMI signals a further expansionary external trade performance in the coming months. Additionally, it expected regional trade, particularly in Asia, to stay on an upward trajectory given that China's Caixin manufacturing PMI surged to a 6-month high of 50.9 in February 2023, beating the market forecast of 50.6. Housing and Local Government Minister Nga Ko Meng said Malaysia's economy is robust with positive fundamentals and economic prospects, supported by various economic data in the first quarter of this year. Commenting further through a statement released today, Nga said the latest updates indicate that the Malaysian Stock Exchange has increased by 96 points, which is equivalent to a 6.77% rise. Additionally, the unemployment rate of the country has decreased to 3.4%, and the inflation rate has remained stable at 1.5%. Moreover, there has been a significant increase of 13.3% in the total exports of the country. He said Bursa Malaysia was one of the 3 best-performing stock markets in the Asia-Pacific region this year, and the increase in Bursa Malaysia's stock market by 6.77% was the first time in 6 years. He also said the nation's economy is supported by the increase in Bank Negara's international reserves to $114.5 billion, approved investments reaching 329.5 billion ringgit, and the rapid development in the tourism industry. However, Nga stressed that economic recovery requires not only an increase in revenue, but also a reduction in expenditure. He said the Madani government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, will bring long-term reformation by implementing a targeted subsidy policy and rationalising new civil servants' pensions. Bursa Malaysia rebounded to open higher today, taking its cue from Wall Street's strong overnight performance last Friday. In a note, Malacca Securities Sdn Berhad said the Wall Street closed higher last Friday as investors are looking towards mega cap technology companies with growth potential from artificial intelligence to outrun inflation. It said both the European and Asian stock markets ended higher. The latter ended higher after China's manufacturing PMI data came in line with consensus estimates. Hence, the brokerage believes that the positive sentiment may spill over towards stocks on the local front this week. Malacca Securities also expects traders to look at the commodities sectors after the firmer Brent oil and gold prices. The oil and gas counters may continue to charge higher, while gold-related stocks may trend positively this week. Among the heavyweights, Maybank perked 6 cent to 9 ringgit 51 cent. CIMB inched up 13 cent to 6 ringgit 47 cent. Public Bank was 2 cent higher at 4 ringgit 38 cent, and Tenaga Nasional went up 4 cent to 11 ringgit 34 cent, while Petronas Chemicals slid 3 cent to 6 ringgit 90 cent. As for the actives, Harvest Miracle Capital gained half a cent to 15.5 cent. Hong Kong Consolidated and TWL Holdings were flat at 1.5 cent and 3.5 cent respectively, while Widat Group lost half a cent to 11.5 cent and Jax Resources slipped 1 cent to 16.5 cent. Elsewhere, the Malaysian rubber market closed mixed today in tandem with benchmark crude oil prices, while taking the cue from weaker advice in the regional rubber futures markets. A dealer said market sentiment was also dragged by slower global manufacturing, coupled with a stronger ringgit against the US dollar. Nevertheless, she said further losses were capped by fresh expectations for more upcoming stimulus from China, while market players are expected to monitor upcoming crucial economic data to gauge the timing of the United States Federal Reserve interest rate cuts. She shared that oil prices were mixed today as the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, OPEC Plus, maintained its current pace of production cuts of 2.2 million barrels per day until the second quarter, although calls from top United States officials for an immediate Israel-Hamas ceasefire dulled crude's momentum. She also pointed out that global factories struggled to claw their way out of decline in February, with European powerhouse Germany squeezed by a steeper fall in demand, while an uneven recovery in China overshadowed some signs of improvement in Asia. Meanwhile, the Malaysian Rubber Board's MRB price for standard Malaysian rubber 20 SMR20 fell by 4.5 cent to 753.5 cent per kilogram, but latex in bulk added 1 cent to 713 cent per kg. At 5 p.m., MRB's reference price for physical bulk SMR20 stood at 753.5 cent per kg, while latex in bulk was at 715 cent per kg. Meanwhile, a total of 33 of Malaysia's agenda items were successfully discussed and endorsed at the United Nations Statistical Commission's 55th session, or UN55SC. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, or DOSM's Chief Statistician, Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzir Mahidin, these agenda items will contribute to the production of important decisions for the development of the international statistical system. Commenting further on the matter through a statement released, he said Malaysia's involvement and contribution include the submission of 33 written national statements and submission of 11 oral national statements. Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzir said Malaysia's participation in the UN55SC annual conference successfully highlighted the country's capabilities and expertise in producing official statistics covering economic, social, demographic, and environmental issues. He also said that through the initiative, DOSM emphasizes the importance of statistics and provides support to the efforts of the UN55SC in expanding the latest statistical guidelines and methodologies covering economic, social, and environmental aspects. UN55SC, held from the 27th of February to the 1st of March in New York, acts as the main entity in the global statistical system that brings together chief statisticians or heads of national statistical systems from around the world to form international statistical standards and methodologies. On to some foreign economic news. Thailand's economy is in a critical situation, the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff said today, stressing a need for measures to tackle household debt, boost tourism and inject stimulus into the economy. Promin Letsuridet's remarks come as Prime Minister Shreta Thavisin's government pushes to revive Southeast Asia's second biggest economy, which has suffered from weak exports and a slow recovery from the pandemic compared to regional peers. The economy unexpectedly contracted in the fourth quarter of 2023, and policymakers have downgraded the growth outlook for this year, adding to pressure on the central bank to give in to the Prime Minister's near-daily demands for an interest rate cut. Promin said the government is doing everything they can. And that concludes this edition of Malaysia Tonight. In our top story, Malaysia willing to revisit MH370 case. Till then, I'm Mohana Priya. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Thank you for your company.